Glorious Monday here on Birds 365. You got McMullen, McDonald, and I wasn't kidding when I said Darth Vader, our very own Darth Vader.
Delaware Spinus, by the way.
I'm not sure if he's
the hammer. Delaware Spinus. He's trying to protect himself from me. That's what Bob's doing right there.
Oh, you think so?
That whole press box, man. Jody, you wouldn't even step in there if you heard all the coughing yesterday. It was ridiculous.
Really?
And then they're passing the stats out. Oh, my God. With a big glob. I shouldn't say that. The stats people seem to be okay. But that place is bad. I know somebody who walked out of there feeling very ill yesterday. So, hey, is it all right to do this show without a mask?
Yeah, you could do the show without
the mask.
You can do a show.
I didn't know if it was because A, you were worried about getting sick, or B, you were in hiding for your continued.
I didn't want you guys to get sick. Yeah.
Okay, that's very considerate of you, and don't think that can happen while streaming. But thank you very much for the thought. I thought maybe you were hiding from James Bradbury, who continued to play great football for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, the smartest cornerback,
the slowest cornerback in the National Football League.
I've never seen anybody overrun an interception like that. That should have been a pick six.
And that's
amazing.
What a savvy play!
If he had only remembered to take the ball with him, I mean, it would have been what, 42-10. And by the way, you guys, you say they're the best team, right, in the NFL? I don't think
correct.
They're the best team.
I don't think they proved. No. Look at that Titans team yesterday. I mean, come on. By the end of the first half, they had nobody left. They were out of players. They didn't have anybody coming. In all fairness, they had nobody coming into the game. They had a mystique. They had Vrabel and his, that tough physical thing going. But that you saw
physical, Bob.
You saw how far that takes you. Yeah, but. I mean, it was an impressive win. And Jalen Hurts, it was effortless, I mean, come on, man.
It is effortless with Jalen Hurts. Treylon Burks play was a big deal.
When he got a concussion,
it was a great catch, but Marcus Epps lit him up. And by the way, that was a legal hit, but they just call difficult hits. They just call those.
You don't think there was helmet-to-helmet contact there?
I think there was, but it was he led with his shoulder. I mean, it was incidental, the helmet-to-helmet. I don't know what defenders can do.
Yeah, I think he gets fined. But hey, the Titans have they need a quarterback, they need receivers, and they need a left tackle. They're out of guys. Yeah, so. And that officiating yesterday was ridiculous. I mean,
Adrian Hill, baby.
I give the Eagles credit for fighting their way through that. It was ridiculous.
He wanted some camera time yesterday, Adrian Hill.
It's supposed to be the NFL, not the National Referees League. It's the National Football League. And what was there? There was almost 20 penalties, I think, 19 or 20 penalties.
All right, but a wise guy named John McMullen said to me last night on my CBS Sports radio show, which I thought he was dead on accurate and right. When you get those first couple calls, then everyone on the offensive line has got to wise up and go, they're calling it tight today. We can't look to get the edge. We can't look to get the jump.
Yeah.
They got an itchy trigger finger on the flags. Stop doing it. And the Eagles offensive line didn't.
Yeah, they got to realize that.
I hear you, but come on. Here's how bad this crew was. On, what was it, consecutive plays, Vrabel challenged whether it was a catch and won. I mean, they couldn't even make the basic calls yesterday.
By the way, did you see Mike Vrabel was asked about the officiating crew after the game, and Mike was the one who said they were, for some reason, they just put this crew together on the fly. They had never worked together before.
They need to take it apart on the fly. I mean, these guys have no future together.
But my question, and somebody did ask him, he said, why? Why did they put a crew together like that on the fly? And he said, I don't know. These are great questions. You can go get the pool reporter, whoever that is, and go ask. I don't know. I don't know. Why would the NFL put together a crew? What week are we in, Joe? They did a bad job, but they did a bad job both ways. So I don't think it was that impactful on the game. by any stretch of the imagination.
I'm serious though. I'm serious about that press box yesterday. Some of the coughing I heard, and I'm not a big guy who worries about masks and stuff.
That was 12 and that was 12-1 worthy coughing, Bob. We're taking a step forward.
Yeah,
that's an inside joke.
I get your drift. Yeah,
yeah, that's an inside joke.
But hey, I still think. I mean, the Eagles are they're the best team in the NFC now, especially because the 49ers lost Garoppolo. I was thinking they were the best team. I like them.
Still beat. How did they beat Miami? They beat Miami like a drum with Brock Purdy. That's still a good team, but without a real quarterback.
Yeah, they don't beat the Eagles now. Not without a quarterback. But Kansas City, Buffalo, very impressive teams. I like them, and I would still.
I know you were busy covering the Eagles, but you noticed that the Chiefs got beat yesterday.
Yeah, they got beat. Yeah, right. Okay. But they need to get to the postseason. Come on, I mean that's like they have that. They don't have the greatest offensive line, but they're like the Sixers. The Sixers want to get to the postseason. Why bother with the regular?
They won once. They're better than the Sixers.
We'll see what we've got when the tournament starts. I think that's kind of the way it is.
Here's the guy I was referring to about making picks to win the Super Bowl. What have you done in the playoffs lately? That's the only thing that matters to a guy like Bob Grotz. Kansas City goes to Super Bowl all the time. Cincinnati was there last year. Tom Brady goes all the time. Who's to say that a team that doesn't have a ton of playoff experience and or a ton of wins under their belt in a given season makes a large enough jump that they can't win every game they play in January?
Yeah. Hey, I think they definitely are going to be a team to deal with in the playoffs. And just for the fact that Hurts alone. And, I'm thinking back to last year, that ankle injury, who knows? Maybe they give Tampa a better game last year in the playoffs. The Eagles do if that ankle's 100%. But he's been remarkably healthy this year too. That's impressive.
He took his biggest hit. That was what Bud Dupree got him. That's the first time all year I think he's taken a big hit. He felt it, but he popped up. That's
interesting. That's interesting. ESPN ran stats, a graphic before the game. And according to them, their stats, I think Hurts, it was 13.997. He was taking 14 hits a game. And those are like sacks and quarterback hits. And that was second in the league. Yesterday,
yeah, but they're not big hits, though.
Yeah, big hits. Yesterday, that they really minimized that by throwing the ball. I mean, and getting it out there early and fast, and the protection was really good.
It's always really good.
Did we mention that the Titans were missing their best pass rusher, and they had another injury up front?
Yeah, they were. They and the Burks injury really hurt them from an offensive perspective. Taylor Lewan's been out forever. You mentioned their best corners out, and they lost.
Their two best corners were out. By the end of the first half.
They lost another corner. They got a rookie against A.J. Brown. That was a disaster.
That speaks to the Eagles' depth, though. I mean, the fact they've had injuries, and look at
Reed Blankenship, though. The Eagles are rolling out Reed Blankenship and Josiah Scott, and they're making do. So you got to give them credit for that aspect of it.
People forget about Avonte Maddox.
Not me, man. Not me.
You could do a lot worse than Josiah Scott. I think he's having a good year. And Epps had a great game yesterday. Blankenship was good. And the defensive line just moved the line of scrimmage,
So what was better yesterday, Bob? The defensive line or the quarterback?
I got to say the quarterback. Yeah. He just and the offensive line, despite the penalties, I think there were 7 on just the offensive line, 6 or 7.
Yeah,
they were really good. They just they bullied the Titans. I didn't think it could be done, but they did. And even though they were depleted, the Titans, they still. I mean, you just don't do that to them. And I've never seen Vrabel so frustrated, And there were some you could sympathize a little bit. I mean, if he had 10 challenges, he would have won all 10 because that crew was that bad,
Yeah, that was yeah.
They were, yeah.
Let's hope we don't see Adrian Hill and company again.
The only thing he did right was at the end of each quarter, he would say, "This is the end of the second quarter." He got all of those right. I made a.
He did get all of those right.
Yeah, but that crew, as far after that, they were brutal. So,
all right, Mr. Grotz, if Nick Sirianni has asked this question at his day after press gathering today, could his answer potentially be this? How are you guys going ahead and trying to replace Dallas Goedert? Answer being, however the hell we want, seeing as they put up 40 points and 35 points in the 2 game that Goedert has gone out. I know we wrung our hands a little bit about it here on Birds 365, but has not been an issue. And yesterday, oh, by the way, he caught a couple of balls, and Calcaterra caught one too. It doesn't have to come from the tight end. It can come in many different ways, shapes, and forms, and it's done so to the tune of 75 points the last 2 weeks. Could Sirianni take a little bit of a victory lap on this one?
Well, he could, because they're getting not only is Hurts making those guys obscure tight ends, making them better, but Quez Watkins looks like a guy to be reckoned with. And I have to credit the Eagles for the adjustments they've made, because the loss of Goddard is huge. And by the way, he'll be back right at, what is it, one more game, John?
He's got December 18th, so he's got
yeah, I mean, he says he's ready to go. He didn't have a dislocated shoulder. It was just an avulsion. There was a slight tear of something in there, a strain more than
the glenoid. He had a small fracture in the glenoid. Yeah.
Victory lap, if he doesn't take it, he could, but knowing Nick, instead of he wouldn't take a victory lap for competitive purposes. He'd be afraid that somebody would see that and use it against him. So, but by the way, there's your coach of the year too. I mean, that's pretty amazing. He's not getting a lot of talk right now, but we'll see what happens. I hope we don't get a Joel Embiid effect here. He should have been the MVP last year.
Yeah.
And I think there's Philly hate that's involved in these things. I really do, because there's no way he shouldn't have been the MVP last year based on what he did for that team.
Yeah. I think
how many Bob, let me just ask a quick honesty question. How many minutes did you watch Nikola Jokic play last year?
I'm going to go over under 20. I'm going to go under.
I only saw the press conference where he goes.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus he plays more. I think the better, Jalen Hurts as MVP is the better comparison with Joel Embiid. Not a great comparison because Jalen plays all the time, but he should be the MVP, and he's not going to be the MVP. Well, I shouldn't say that. If Kansas City loses a couple more games.
Even Josh Allen, it'll be interesting. He was very popular last year. He got voted like second alternate. That's Pro Bowl.
Third alternate.
Yeah, but that shows you how popular he is, because that wasn't if you ask me, that wasn't a great season. They looked at what he did though, and they thought he was really good. His colleagues, so they think they believe in him. So
he's very well liked around the league. But
yeah, I wouldn't.
The guys who vote are Rob Motti and the AP guys, and some of the national writers. So they're the ones.
Wasn't Rob a Carson Wentz guy? I think Carson Wentz gets his.
Rob is a Carson Wentz guy, but no, Rob is very fair. Rob's not.
Rob's
the
a straight shooter.
Yeah, Rob's.
By the way, some of the people that were Carson Wentz guys for, he's gonna end up in Canton and stuff. All of a sudden they're turning that around and saying Hurts is gonna be the guy in Canton. It's funny. They got short memories, man. And
everybody's got short.
Nick Foles, and Nick Foles had some great games there. I won't take that away, but it's funny the way things work. I like that. The Hurts thing, I still don't think he's ready for Canton, but he's certainly having a good year. What is it now? 20 touchdown passes and 3 picks.
Yeah, 3 picks.
That's impressive right there. And then he's got 9 touchdown runs or 8.
And he's taking deep shots.
That was nice yesterday.
Typically when you have quarterbacks that don't throw a lot of interceptions, It's a bunch of check downs. They're very safe. Jalen's generating explosive plays, throwing 40-yard touchdowns, 29-yard touchdowns, and not turning the football over. That, to me, is the most impressive part. They're still generating the explosive plays down the field.
He's seeing everything. I mean, you look at him and then maybe somebody like Dak Prescott. Dak looks like he's just trying to throw interceptions sometimes, You don't see that out of Jalen.
Yeah, how about that fourth quarter by Indy? Oof.
Yeah. Oh,
Oof. Yeah. You stayed up for that game, which
I know
a lot of
people don't like Saturday or his clock management, but I sort of like this guy. I mean, that quarterback is,
he's shot. Matt Ryan's shot. He's still better than
with him. Yeah.
He's still better than Sam Ehlinger. I might argue that Ryan Tannehill is shot. Ryan Tannehill is playing has played a lot of football, Bob, and he looked like he didn't know what the hell was going on from the Eagles defense. He refused to pull the trigger. He was skittish. Who's that? You mentioned Nick Sirianni's coach of the year. Who's the assistant coach of the year? Jonathan Gannon or Shane Steichen?
Oh, after this game, you got to say Michael Clay. Those special
Michael
teams.
Clay, yeah. Nice. Britton Covey, baby, back from the dead.
Boston Scott said he had a feeling a big game was coming from the return guys, and he was right. He
knows the punter out kicks the coverage.
Yeah, he was saying that the guy tends to do that, and you give Covey a little space. You saw what he did with it. He's got really quick feet. If that guy gains some strength, he needs to get a little bigger, a little more bulked up. But if he gains some strength and keeps that quickness, he'll be. I think he could probably be a slot receiver too. So I think the people that wrote him off, I think he showed the potential that he has.
All right, Bob, over the last couple of weeks, being fair, A.J. Brown had less than stellar games, part of 3 turnovers in 3 games, had one go off his hands, picked off, a couple of fumbles, one of which was just a bad decision on his part, trying to make a move. He certainly got back to all-pro status yesterday, dominant against his former team. I don't know how much of it was motivation and or just he's one of the 10 best receivers in the National Football League. Can he get on a run? We saw 3 mediocre games in a row. Can we see 3 off-the-chains games in a row now?
The next game will be fun because I think the cornerbacks of the Giants, they're decent, aren't they, John?
No.
They're
young.
Mean, they're bigger. Their front has been playing well.
And they got to be better than what the Titans
Oh, yeah. Well, the Titans were down to Trey Avery, rookie corner. I mean, he was overmatched. So they got to be better than that. But
they had no pass rush either. I mean, that was
yeah.
So, but I think this will be an interesting game. But the Eagles, I don't know what the line is. It double digits?
6.5. Their favorite.
That's it. Wow.
Yeah.
It's on the road. It's in New York.
No, on the road. Yeah. So, you get 3 points to be the home team. So that's a pretty significant favorite.
Get the title out and put the title on the Eagles covering there. I think they'll crush the Giants. I don't think the Giants will be able to score enough points.
I don't think the Giants can keep up with the Eagles. Simple as that. They can't. You're right. They can't score enough points. It's all about Saquon Barkley. They don't have threats at receiver. Maybe they'll win the Odell Beckham sweepstakes, but who cares?
Who makes the Pro Bowl team with the Eagles? Who do you think their peers?
My God, it could be so many.
Well, it's going to be Hurts for sure. It's going to be
Hurts, Kelsey, Lane Johnson, AJ, Dallas Goedert, even though he's been hurt, will get serious consideration. Defensively, it's going to be interesting. Slay is obvious.
Slowest cornerback in the league should make it.
Slowest cornerback in the league should make it. Savviest cornerback in the league. Who should make it? TJ Edwards should make it. I don't think he will, but I think he should. And I think Javon will make it because of all the sacks.
Yep.
And you didn't mention CJ Gardner, Chauncey.
Yeah, CJ
Gardner.
as well, because now that's going to hurt him because he's out for 4 games now, but he's got so many interceptions already.
I think
he'll get serious consideration.
Even though he hasn't played for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing about the Pro Bowl, I've only been saying this for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
Making the Pro Bowl is borderline irrelevant. It's just slightly more relevant than power rankings because guys bag off. They get down to like the 9th guy at a position because they're either in the playoffs, still in the playoffs, or no, they got a cramp. No, they can't go.
Now,
so making the Pro Bowl is kind of irrelevant these days.
Well, now they're not playing the game anymore. So now, and I've argued this for years, they should keep the honor, ditch the game. The honor is meaningful for the players for a number of reasons. Contract reasons. A lot of their contract incentives are tied up with Pro Bowl. But because they're not playing the game, Jody, they won't have all those alternates.
Do you think more guys will go just to compete in the stupid contest they're going to have?
I don't know about that, but they're not going to have. They might bring in players, but the Pro Bowl players are going to be the Pro Bowl players,
right? But let's say they're bringing a guy to do these skill competitions they're going to have, and he's not really that good a football player, but he's a really athletic guy. Does that mean he made the Pro Bowl?
No, I don't think so. That's what I mean. That they're going to have, and again, the meaningful part of it is contract, and the meaningful part of it, like third alternate, like Jalen was a third alternate. That doesn't count towards incentives or things like that. So
you're sure about that?
Yeah, again, everything is individual, but yeah, nobody's giving up. Oh, if you're a third Pro Bowl alternate, and Jalen doesn't make money anyway, so doesn't he will.
And by the way, and we got Bob Grotz with us. I want to get back to talking Bob, but one more note. Holy mackerel, did Jimmy Garoppolo lose a lot yesterday. Not only his starting job, not only being the quarterback, he's got incentives in his contract that were going to make up for a whole bunch of money that he lost out because he had to renegotiate his contract, but it was all based on him starting. So it looked like, all right, he may never get any of these because Trey Lance is going to be their quarterback too. Oh, he's going to get all of these incentives. Then now he's going to get shortchanged just because he broke his foot yesterday. He got screwed big time.
Uncertain future again, too. I mean, these are really prime income earning years for him. So, that's a really tough break.
And that is a good team that had a legitimate shot with Jimmy G. And Jody knows I'm no Jimmy G fan, but he's at least competent. Now with Brock Purdy. Man, everything's coming up Eagles, Bob Grotz. Everything's coming up Eagles.
You got to say that. And I think New Orleans is still doing they're still struggling too, right?
Well, they're still in it. They're still in it.
For the Saints.
Yeah. If the Saints win tonight, they're legitimate contenders in the NFC South.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's like amazing. The old NFC East, yeah.
All right, Grotz. So next week you got the Giants coming up. Brian Daboll, you've just put in the rearview mirror for Coach of the Year. You've had him as the leader in the clubhouse. We'll all
rightfully so. Put him in the rearview.
I think he's a good coach. I like that guy.
I think he's a very good coach.
Yeah, good coach. Getting that many wins out of Daniel Jones. That's impressive.
But they didn't get a win yesterday. They got a tie.
No, but I mean they gotten a lot of wins out of him. A lot more than I thought he had left. I didn't figure that he'd be playing at this point, Yeah,
they got nobody else to put in there, so there was.
And they got Galladay. That he's a coach killer.
Yeah,
is he not?
They don't have anybody.
Coach killer, Kenny Galladay.
Their best receiver, I guess, is Darius Slayton. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Who else would you say, Jody? Wan'Dale Robinson is hurt.
Right. No, the Giants have very little weapons on the outside. Right. And
impressive coaching job. Yeah, that offensive line is coming along though. They got they got the foundation except for the quarterback. They got to get a quarterback, right?
I say so. I've been saying about Daniel Jones since the day he was drafted that this guy isn't a franchise quarterback. So we'll see where they go. You think the Giants still got fight in them though?
Yeah,
they're in a playoff spot, so you and I don't think they can do anything when they get there. But
they fought and clawed yesterday, didn't they? Weren't
Yeah.
they down 13-0 or something?
Yeah.
Didn't they come back and they?
No,
It'll,
I think
I think it'll still be a double-digit Eagles win, but yeah, they're not going to go quietly. There's no question. That and that defense is they kick some rear end. So I that's going to be a fun game to watch. But I don't see anybody. The Cowboys. I guess that game won't be real meaningless at the end of the year. I don't see anybody doing anything to the Eagles now. I mean, I was of the belief, as were some others, that the Titans game would be their biggest test, and then I didn't really see the Titans that showed up, on that for that game. There was some injuries, and they're even thinner than I thought. I misevaluated their depth.
Oh, I missed that one bad. I'm disgusted with myself, Bob.
And the Eagles, they did look. That was a tremendous game. I mean, for this time of this late in the season, and they're how healthy they are, how the quarterback is playing. You look at all that stuff, you got to be thinking, where do I want to stay in Arizona during that Super?
Yeah,
and
they're so good. They're so good. It's boring. They're so good.
And by the way, I want to give credit to two guys on the Eagles sideline yesterday. That would be Nick Sirianni and Jonathan Gannon. They got their subs in on defense. The last time the Eagles had a blowout win, we had the whole. Oh, I ran it by Nick. Jonathan Gannon passing the buck to Sirianni that he didn't give him the go-ahead to clear out the bench and get some guys in there, which I thought was kind of weak on both their parts. Sirianni for not doing it and Gannon for throwing his head coach under the bus. They both got it done yesterday. Let's give those backup players a little bit of a chance to play.
You got to see
Nakobe Dean going in and making plays.
You got to see Nakobe Dean.
Nakobe Dean looked like a franchise linebacker. I don't know if anybody else feels that way about him.
I do.
Yeah,
have since the draft.
He did look good.
At least we got to look at him yesterday.
He did look good. He looked
like,
exactly. He didn't play that much, but he was in on a ton of tackles when he was.
Yeah, he was tied for, I think, or second on the team.
Second on the team, yeah, and he barely played. He's always around the football.
You could be seeing a bigger role for him. I would not, and I'm
not this year, but he's going to be a good player.
That. Didn't Kaiser White get hurt?
Yeah, he did. We got to see about Kaiser. That's why he played. I don't think it's too serious, but we'll see. But nothing wrong. I mean,
you can always
behind two really good players.
You can always press him off the field, John. They kind of did that with Robert Quinn. I didn't know he had a bad knee. Did you?
No.
Yeah,
I don't think Robert knew.
That kind of came out of nowhere. The old designated injury. I got one last question before we let you run, Bob, and let you put your mask back on. And it really on a 35-10 win. Why are you bringing this up, Jody? Because I'm inquisitive. Sean Bradley active yesterday?
Oh, yeah. He had a big game on special teams. He hurt his hamstring.
He had a couple of tackles on special teams. They gave him credit for Jeff asked the press box operator or speaker. He gave him a couple of tackles he didn't get if you watch the replays.
But potentially, yeah.
That other guy, the guy that they activated from
Christian Ellis, man, he was great. He was great. I wonder why he wasn't elevated more earlier in the season if they had that in their back pocket.
Well, with Sean hurt, he's going to play some more, definitely on special teams. But the special teams, the coverage, that kick returner and punt returner that the Titans have, he's pretty good. So they did a good job. No gashes, finally, first time in weeks. They didn't do any trick plays. The Titans didn't, so they didn't have to worry about that. And Britton Covey got off. I mean, that was impressive.
Yeah, how about Britton Covey?
Yeah.
The second best punt return game in the entire NFL. Britton Covey.
That
yesterday.
Was,
the whole year, not just the week, by the way. People don't understand that. He had the second most punt return yardage all season.
Very nice.
I've always said you're only as good as your punt returner.
He's a lock to be here again next week. And I'm looking at Sean Bradley, no tackles yesterday, as per the official NFL stat. So I'm taking
no,
you guys' word for it that he was actually there and on the field, because you can't tell so from the box.
No, you got to scroll over, Jody. He had two unassisted tackles on special teams, one assisted. He had none on defense. He didn't play.
Jordan Davis didn't have any tackles either. How many?
No, he only played 6 snaps. Jordan Davis.
I don't remember one. Yeah, but
Linval only had 13 because they were every time they rolled out the 5-man front, they stopped Derrick Henry, so they rolled it right back off.
Well, they're 4-man. They're 4-man front. They didn't just run it on first down. Their 4-man line was tough too.
They played
dominated.
It dominated. That's the point.
And got to the quarterback without having to go to any kind of a fifth guy on the blitz. So kudos to Jonathan Gannon. All right, Studley, go put your mask back on. Go inside. Don't cough on anybody. Don't get coughed on.
You got like the weather people say during the disasters, to people in the middle of a disaster, be safe.
Be safe. Be safe.
We're saying to you.
You be safe in that car. And read Bob at the DelcoTimes.com. He's got a great story. A.J. Brown's celebration when he was whipping the goalpost, or the stanchion, as the sophisticated call.
Did you think they were going to, with the way the flags were coming out of the officials' pockets yesterday, did you at least for a millisecond go, they're going to throw the taunting flag?
Somebody asked me that. I forgot. I didn't cross my mind at the time.
It did.
But yeah, I guess, going back to when Randy Moss feigned taking his pants down at Lambeau Field.
Using a prop is usually a reason for 15 yards to be tacked on.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that in the moment.
I did.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't, though. I'm glad they didn't.
I thought they were going to tack on 15 to the kickoff thereafter. So the Eagles were going to have to truly show their coverage skills, because I thought it was going to be a long Jake Elliott kickoff. It was not. It was a 35-10 win by the Eagles. John McMullen, Jody McDonald chopping it up for you. Chris Franklin, NJ.com, going to join us in about 20 minutes from now. So stay with us here on